Welcome to the Stats on Stats Pod. Yeah.
I was like,
That's important.
Are we recording? Oh, we're live right now. Okay. Well, hey, Jesus, how are you today?
Oh, good. People tuned in.
Who knows? Honestly, we don't. Tiffany will sometimes keep track of it, but
We're just here to have a conversation.
that part for sure. So, what are your plans for this weekend?
A lot of football. Just dad stuff, parenting, and getting ready for the week. It's a lot going on right now. So yeah.
What's going on? We know you're tapped. He's tapped into everything in Tampa.
A little bit. Well, first of all, it's Hispanic Heritage Month.
Okay.
So kicked off on the 15th, and yeah, it's a lot of events going on, both in Tampa, DC, just a lot of stuff. So so just getting prepped for all the events throughout the next month, and a lot of hiring and stuff. So which we'll talk about.
Yeah, that's the part we got to talk about. Anthony, did you know it was Hispanic Heritage Month?
No, I did not.
There you go.
Shame. I know.
So if you didn't know, now you know.
Don't you feel crazy? All right. Well, before we even start our game, real quick, shout out to my boy, Ryan Williams. Can they see this from right here? Okay. Shout out to my boy, Ryan Williams. He hosts the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. He's located here in Tampa. He wrote this book. It's actually fire. It's kind of about his guests, and it's not like a Q&A type vibe. It's actually very much so storytelling, and I love it. So grab a copy if you don't already have one. And I don't get paid for that, by the way. I just really like Ryan. Okay.
It's a good cover.
It is.
Like
It's a good book. We should keep a stack and start handing them to people.
Yeah, right.
Because
you get one and you get one.
It's really good. But okay, yeah. So do you know what's about to happen before we get into the stuff people actually care about?
No,
Really?
not that I know.
We're gonna be playing Tiffany's favorite game. Tiffany, you want to tell them about it? What's it called?
That's my jam, 90s R&B
Oh.
edition.
Hey, look. Am I supposed to guess the song?
Nope.
No,
All
not
right,
about the
that's
intro.
the intro.
That's the intro. Okay.
the
I'm like,
intro.
wait. It still sound like a song I know.
Don't even sound like R&B at all.
Guess the
Period.
song.
All right, Tiffany, you want to give them the rules?
Okay, so we're going to play 4 covers. Covers for copyright reasons. You get 2 guesses. You get a lot of
Hints. You don't like hints.
You get a lot of hints,
right.
but you get 2 guesses or 3 guesses.
I'm not giving him no
To
hints.
figure
Look at
out-
this Look at this chain. I'm not giving him not a. No, go. Continue.
You're going to learn a lot about me. This is a side that most people don't know. So
Yeah.
So figure out the artist or the name of the song, and you get 1 point. And that's basically how
All
the
right.
game goes.
All right.
You ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's get it. Song number 1, please.
And every time I close my eyes, I thank the Lord that I've got you, yeah. And you've got me too. And every time I think of it, I pinch myself 'cause I don't believe it's true.
Okay, we know Tiffany knows it.
Someone
I know this song.
loves me too.
It's just throwing me off because there isn't a beat behind it.
Oh yeah, and because it's a female singing all the covers, whether it's a male or a female, it's a female singing all the covers.
Usher, right?
Was that your guess?
No. I was thinking My Boo from Usher. That's why. Like, there's a little melody that was kind of going there, but
I can see that.
Isn't
it was
that-
the words.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The beat without the beat throws me off. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was in that vein. At least it was 90s and
It
R&B.
was 90s, you know.
Wait,
early
My
2000s,
Boo.
maybe. No, that's early 2000s.
early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's Alicia Keys. Anyways, go ahead and tell him who it is. I'm not giving him a hint. No hint. Like I said, his chain is the reason he's not getting a hint.
Babyface every time I close my eyes.
Babyface. Okay. Okay. I know who Babyface is, but I don't think I've heard that song. Yeah. Okay.
At least you know who he is.
I know. Yeah.
That's a step in the right direction.
Look.
All right. Song number 2, please.
Oh, honey, you can have me when you want me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gianna.
If you simply ask me to be
No,
there.
she's killing it, though.
Yeah. She's a Tampa artist.
You're the only one who makes me come running.
Ooh.
What you got is far beyond compare. Oh,
Is she on Apple Music? I guess I'm about to download some of her stuff.
Honey, when your love comes
I know this one.
over me.
That's the thing is, I know I've heard these
Ooh,
songs.
baby,
You got this, man.
upon the sea.
That was so good.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Look, what you don't know about me is I do love R&B. I got like 300 songs on my Apple playlist.
Okay.
A lot of songs. I'm back to like Brian McKnight and,
Okay.
Luther Vandross and
I figured the
you
chain
know.
doesn't lie.
He knows a couple of
few.
names.
There's a few out there.
Just not the
But
names.
this
that are
one,
on
this
the
one, this is hard. This is a hard game. Yeah, you're gonna have to just give it to me.
So Nick Cannon fumbled the bag.
That's always the hint. Every
Oh, that's Mariah?
Okay, yep.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the only hint I can think of. Oh,
See,
what do bees make?
Love it, love it.
All right. Third song, please.
I was a wayward child with the weight of the world that I held deep inside. Life was a winding road, and I learned many things little one shouldn't know. But I closed my eyes, steadied my feet on the ground, raised my head to the sky, and the times rolled by. Still I feel like a child as I look at the moon. Maybe I grew up.
I'm gonna just go with an artist I know from the 90s.
Okay.
Maybe like Faith.
No,
No?
no. But I'm impressed with the fact that you know people for real. So, I mean,
She
that
thought I was
alone.
just playing.
I mean, Captain Crunch. All right, actually, so I actually knew this one because I had already seen this list. Bees make this. Wait, no, it's not that. We're talking about the artist.
It's like Honey? Like just like album?
No, it's not. The artist who we just talked about.
Oh, Mariah?
Yeah, it's the same artist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She doubled it up. All right, give it whatever.
She doubled it.
All right, last song, Anthony.
With every passing moment,
Love this song.
thoughts of you run through my head. Every time that I'm near you, I realize that you're heaven sent, baby. I think you're truly something special.
Oh.
Just what my dreams are really made of. Let's stay together, you and me, boy. There's no one like you around, oh baby.
Oh my God. I was just listening to the song on the way here with Fabulous.
Okay.
Right? She sings a song with Fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, what's her name? Man.
Ooh, this one hurts, doesn't
I'm like,
it?
because I know it.
This
I know
one
this song.
hurts.
Especially when I heard that melody, I was like, okay, I know this song. But now I haven't.
You're singing along too.
Brain lags. I was humming a little bit.
That
'cause
hurts. That hurts. Ugh.
I might need that hint probably.
No, we
wait,
out of
wait.
hints.
No,
we out of
wait.
hints.
I feel like I just said that. No, I didn't say that name, did I?
Tiffany, would you like to give a hint?
I'm not the hint person. I just give extra guesses.
I think you might have to take the L on this
I'm
one.
gonna
low-key.
take the L. Yeah, I'm gonna take the L.
All right, Tiffany, you want to tell them who it is?
So into you, Tamia.
Tamia. See, I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah,
I knew the name of the song.
I actually run to this song.
Was I supposed to say the name of the song?
You could say the name of the song. Or
Oh,
the
that
name
would
of
have given me the
artist.
point?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. I thought I needed to say the artist. Oh, well, next time.
All right. So first and foremost, shout out to Guyana. Go follow her at Destination Guyana. She provides all the covers for these. Now, let's go ahead and get into the reason people actually show up here. If it's your first time, welcome. If you already know the vibes, welcome back. I'm Jordyn, aka Jay, aka the chosen one, aka Big Stepper, and I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Tiffany B, and as usual, we are excited to have another one of these episodes where we get to hang out with you and talk to leaders in the cyber IT technology spaces. We have somebody in studio today, so he's going to tell you who he is, where he's from, what he does in tech, and how long he's been in the space. And I'll let him take it away.
Yeah. Well, first of all, hi, everyone. My name is Jesus Vidaurri. I am a 10-plus year veteran of technical recruiting. So I've been, trying to find people jobs for the last over a decade now, all in tech. Got my start in actually cybersecurity, believe it or not. That's exclusively what I recruited for a while, and then dabbled into all the other areas of tech. And that's where we are today. And I'm from Tampa, Florida, which is why I'm here in studio. So,
And he's plugged into everybody. Literally knows everyone. Like, you'll be like, I need to get my car washed. Oh, I got a guy. So this dude,
you need a lawn guy, you need a plumber, just let me know.
He know everybody, literally. So yeah. Sorry, Tiffany, I'll be going all the way after. Did you go to USF?
I did.
Okay,
yeah.
so that's why you're like, oh, I know USF is playing.
Yeah, well, I was telling them I was gonna put my polo on, but I was like, you know what? I throw that polo on every Saturday, and they just took an L last week, so maybe I'll wear it when I get home. I don't know. We'll see.
Didn't they recently beat a team that it was like?
I mean, we beat UF.
Was it UF?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the one
Yeah.
that people were like,
That's a fluke. I was like, no, it's not a fluke. We're actually that good this year. Miami's a better team. But,
okay, fair enough. All right, so
Yeah. Well, let's just kick it off.
Yeah.
But first, let's find out what initially sparked your interest in technology before, recruiting, before cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Like, what made you be like, oh, this is my thing?
It was completely by chance. I didn't even know anything about tech. I think the chain gave it off. He said earlier, I was not the most polished guy when I was, leaving college, I should say. I mean, obviously or I should say when I got into college. When I got out of college, I'd say I was a lot more polished. But I started getting into tech, actually, like I said, completely by chance. I was actually a personal trainer right out of college. So got my degree in business management. I was going for an exercise science, double major. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stay in school for another 2 years. Rack up more loans. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I just took my degree in business, got my personal training certification, ended up working at a gym here in Tampa, Crunch, if you guys know it. Was there for a little less than a year. And then I got hit up by somebody on LinkedIn, and they were like, we're looking for tech recruiters. And I said, well, I don't know anything about tech, and I don't know anything about recruiting. But if you're willing to take a shot on me, sure, why not? So I think they just needed more people that understood sales at the time. And personal training is a lot of selling people on their fitness goals and that kind of thing. So, yeah, like I said, I got into the recruiting space, and it just so happened to be in tech. I could have been recruiting for any other skill set, but they just so happened to need that. So that was kind of my entry point into it. And yeah, that's where I got my start, I guess.
that's dope. Those LinkedIn reach outs, they get you every time.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays it's a little scary because there's a lot of scams out there. But back in the early days, it's 15 years ago, right? Or 13 years ago, it was LinkedIn was still a little, it was very different than it is today. The whole UI, everything, it was just a very different space. And I think it was for recruiters, it was the easiest way to try to tap into somebody if they were in the professional space. But yeah, it's very different today. For sure.
Yeah, my DMs are mostly financial advisors. And I'm hey, thanks for connecting. How can I manage your money? Anyway.
Right. I mean, for me, I actually get a lot of folks that are from other countries. They're we got a team of developers that they can build your next app. I'm I'm not building apps. I don't need that right now.
Yeah.
Well, tech was new to you, right? Because now you're recruiting for it. What actually connected you when it came to trying to have a conversation between engineers or the tech people as well as the leadership and the hiring managers?
Yeah. The connection piece, I think for me really happened. I was maybe a year into tech recruiting, and I was getting it was rough. The first year, I mean, if you're a staffing recruiter out there and you know, it is rough when you first start out, and either you make it or you don't. I think it's one of those things like either you kind of get dragged through the mud, and you come out of it alive afterwards, or you're like, hey, yeah, this isn't for me, and you go somewhere else. You like either go do like actual sales and like sell products or something, or you become some sort of like community manager, customer success, that kind of thing. But yeah, that first year I would call engineers and they would just be like, click, like, you don't know what I would do, so stop calling me. Same thing with hiring managers, right? I would help the account managers like figure out, okay, what companies are hiring, and I try to call up hiring managers and be like, hey, you got some racks, like, you know, and it was just like, it was rough. Yeah, there would be a lot of no's, right? Just like any sales job, there's a lot of no's before you get any yeses. But what's unique about like recruiting, and specifically tech recruiting, is you really got to immerse yourself. You got to speak the language. And as a recruiter, like, I think for me, that was like kind of the turning point, was after like, again, after that first year, after hundreds of no's and just like, you know, constantly being told like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, you just get out of that job. I was like, okay, well, I got to change something. And so I just started going to meetups. I started reading about technology. I started like truly immersing myself, right? Like understanding how code works. And I had, it's funny, I had like these little diagrams that I would hang up on my cubicle, right? And it was like, I remember there was this one like diagram that I still love to this day. It was like the periodic table of DevOps. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was the coolest thing ever. And it was like, it looked like a periodic table, and they had all your tools. It would say like monitoring tool. And this is like, they're colored so that you could understand that these are monitoring tools. These are vulnerability management tools. These are, you know, the software like Puppet, Chef, Ansible, like et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, and that's how I started learning, because I'm a visual guy too. So they had the same thing for a cybersecurity one, and it was like a wheel. And so like the center was like your like the data that, you know, hackers are trying to get to, and then around it are like the different layers of security.
That's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, you know, it was just one of those things where, you know, it was like, okay, like I got to do something different. This like pitching people on jobs and selling them, like that's not what's going to get people to like take a job from me or hiring managers to give me recs. It's going to be me talking to them and figuring out like what makes you guys tick and understanding that language. And that's really where those, I think I would say like those connections started happening more. And again, like I got away from the idea of selling and just listening to people. Just, you know, for candidates, it was, what are you looking for? Why are you looking for that? What's motivating you? And for hire managers, it was, you know, what's your biggest pain point? You know, why do you need to fill this job? And just asking them a question and just listening, right? And then those two things together, like immersing yourself in the world and then just listening, changed the game for me, for sure.
Nice. That's interesting to me though, to hear like people would turn you down. Like I feel like in 2025, if a recruiter's calling you, you don't care what the job is. Yes, I will interview for that. Oh, have you ever done that? I could learn it.
Yeah.
Are you passionate about selling insurance? Could be.
Right.
So that's crazy.
It was a vastly different world 10 years ago. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think it's because like now you have like 5 generations or so of people in the workforce. So it's like the way they approach things is very differently. And back in the day, I was mostly talking to boomers and like Gen X, right? These are people that, and some millennials, you know, obviously I'm a millennial. So most of my colleagues and peers in my generation were just either graduating college or their life was just getting together because they're, you know, in the industry for 3 to 5 years. So they were still figuring out the world. And most of the recs I recruited on anyway were senior level. So I was talking to 10, 15, 20-year vets. And I'm a 20-something-year-old guy. You know, so I was talking to people that are 40, 50 years old. And they're like, who the heck is this kid calling me? Like, what's he trying to do? So I think it's a very different world then. And then, again, like you said, like today, 25, I mean, the market is just crazy. It's just, there's just so many factors that are influencing everything. So it's like, you get a call from a recruiter, you better pick that phone up. For sure. So
that's facts. But to your point, the landscape is entirely different. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who have questions about it, especially people trying to get into tech. So from your perspective right now, right, having all those years of knowledge and all those recs and being able to immerse yourself in it, what do you feel is kind of the biggest challenge right now for folks who are trying to get into tech? Like, what are some of the things that they could do to get noticed? Like, you know what I mean? People looking for jobs. So what are you seeing in terms of people who are actually being successful right now?
I would say if you can catch on to the trends early on, you're going to be in a good position. Like right now, I mean, the hottest topic of the entire last couple of years, 2 years maybe for sure, has been AI, right? I mean, everywhere you go, AI, AI, AI. I mean, it's like it's starting to get overwhelming. And so, but it really is a huge factor. And I think I'm going to call a lot of bluffs from, you know, these executives at all these major companies are like, oh, no, don't worry, automation is not going to take your job. Like, that's complete BS. They just tell you that because they don't want to scare you. But I would rather people err on the side of caution and prepare yourself than take the word of these like tech moguls that are saying that, you know, your jobs, they don't care. Like they're worried about their profits and they're worried about selling their products. Like whether or not you actually get a job entry level. I mean, right now, the unemployment rate for this generation is like 12%.
That's crazy.
It's wild. You know, so we're talking kids that are just now graduating from college, and it's only. I'm not going to say this because I'm not a predictor of the future, but it could get worse, right? If AI gets better, which it will, right? So it's only inevitable. That's where I said, like, you really gotta, going back to what I said earlier, immerse yourself. Like, read the articles, sign up for all those newsletters, see what's popping in the AI world and every other sector, cybersecurity, data centers, software engineering, like just like understanding all those different realms. And you'll catch on to the trends. You'll see, oh, okay, like they just released this new version. That completely eliminates that job that I was even considering, right? And so you start to think to yourself, okay, well, what could I do, or how can I prepare myself so that I don't get sucked into this like void of of the automation world, right? Where now, you know, whatever I would have done could be automated. And so I think to answer your question directly of like, what should a new job seeker do? I mean, one, learn the world, learn the space, talk the language, do everything you possibly can. Like the degree and going through a boot camp and just getting a certification is not enough. It's not enough. You really need two things. You need to actually do the work. So if you're an engineer, write code. Just write it. Put it on GitHub. Don't even think about it. Doesn't care who sees it. Eventually someone will see it. But if you have a GitHub and it's completely empty, then what's the point? Why'd you even start a GitHub, right?
Right.
If you're a designer, like work on your portfolio. Do some websites and design and do some icons, some logos, and, you know, just build that portfolio up so that when people tap into your portfolio, like, oh, this looks really good. I want to hire that person as my next designer. And the same thing goes for any other skill set, right? I mean, it's a little bit more difficult with like cyber or like product management type jobs. I mean, with cyber, you could do hackathons, right? You can get some of those things under your belt. Some bounty hunt, some bug hunting bounties out there that you can tap into and like either win them or just say you participated. And like that is more than what most other people are doing, right? And so it's like this philosophy of like, you know, like I said earlier, I like football, right? So this is one thing that my coach always told me. It was like, if there's another guy that's putting in extra hours off the field, they're going to do better than you, right? It's just the same concept. If you just think that getting your degree, getting your cert, like that's enough, there's another person out there that is going to all the conferences, going to pick up all the bounties and writing code on the weekends, just because they want to. Those are the people that are getting jobs right now.
Facts.
Those are the people that are getting jobs right now. So.
Facts. A lot of people needed to hear that for real. Facts. Facts, though.
Well, you've grown. You started in tech systems.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so started in tech systems, and you made it to 2025, and you started your own Vida
Talent Solutions.
Vida Talent Solutions. So I hear the passion you have about making sure you stay connected and you can communicate across the board. But what did you see during that time that made you really go, you know what, I need to bet on myself. Like I can do this, and here are the reasons why.
I think like a lot of things a lot of the turning points in my life, I think have not been by choice, right? Like maybe they've just been like by chance or like something significant life event happened where I was like, okay, something's changing or something's different. For me, you know, I don't think I mentioned this, but I used to work at the U.S. Digital Service, which is a agency out of the White House. And as you know, federal government employees, early on in the year, were part of a major RIF. Unfortunately, I got kind of caught up in that mix too. And, you know, so this was February, early in the year this year. And I said to myself, like, you know, I've always had the entrepreneurship bug. Always. I started my own fitness brand with my personal training stuff. I had a few other ideas that I started drawing up over the last couple of years. And I always said to myself, like, okay, like I've done this for a good amount of time now. I feel like there's more that I could offer. And so I think it was just like combining the significant life event that had just happened with this, like, maybe it's time. And I think it was like motivation from other folks. You know, my wife, I also had my old boss at the digital service, you know, he passed away in March, you know, and so rest in peace to him. But it's crazy how life works, because him and I had actually started talking in December. And I knew some things were going to happen in the government where I was going to be like, okay, I probably should start looking for another job. And he's like, nah, man, just do your own thing. Like, I'm doing it. We'll crush it together. Yeah, I mean, you know, he passed in like February, and I had just texted him the week before. I said, hey man, my logo's done. I'm about to build a website, about to launch. We're about to crush it. And then he passed, right? And so I think like, I kind of say that story too, because like that's also been some motivation, is like, you know, there's other people that have not just like betted on me. I mean, he was one of the people that betted on me, right? He said, hey, you need to come work at the White House. And I was like, me? Right? This was like 3.5 years ago. This is the same guy who was going to then launch, you know, co-businesses together and that kind of thing. And, you know, when other people believe in you, you got to also believe in yourself, right? And bet on yourself. And so I think that was like a catalyst. But too, like, I think for me, it's also, you know, my time in the government, I saw a lot of very broken hiring processes, and a lot of small businesses and startups are the same way. They get all this money, especially in the tech world, right? They get all this money for funding, and they build a great product, but they don't build a good team. Or they don't know where to start, or they build the team and then they got to fire a bunch of people and then rehire some more people. And it's like, that's how most companies fail, right? And everything starts with your people. And so that was, for me, that was like the biggest thing. It was like, I saw some gaps. I said, you know, there's a lot of opportunity here to help companies like figure this out the right way, so that they're not having to go back to the drawing board and start all over again and put themselves in positions that they don't want to be in. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What have been for you, just thinking back over that time, not just, you know, being encouraged from your mentor, but sometimes where you saw the human in people and it really made you think about just these human moments that you get into when you're trying to help somebody move from one point in their life to wherever their trajectory is taking them. What's been kind of the most human moment for you that's made you
the
be
most
like,
human moment?
Yeah.
You know, I think as a recruiter, you get a lot of those, right? I remember when I was early in my years in staffing, this was like a turning point for me. This is where I was like, okay, this is what I meant to do. And I remember I had a conversation with a candidate who, you know, we were talking, and he's like, you know, I've been unemployed for months. My house is getting ready to foreclose, and I really need the job. I really need this. So I started pitching him to a few different roles, and you know, I wasn't sure because his resume wasn't the greatest, you know, and we did a little bit of work to like make it a little bit better. And so I remember, you know, we pitched him to this one job. He ends up getting the job, and he calls me and he's like, you changed my life. Like, I would have lost my home had I not gotten this job. And it was that moment where I was like, wow, like, I'm actually making people's lives better through this. Like, you know, coincidentally, right? It's just, you don't think about it. You're just like, let me make a few calls. If I fill this job, I get paid too, you know, like, especially as a 20-something-year-old. I was like 22, 23. Like, obviously, like, I'm trying to make a name for myself and pay my own bills. And you don't really start to realize like what sort of impact you have on people in the type of roles that you're in. And I think recruiting was one of those. It's like a very, it's one of those roles where you just kind of don't really think about the other side of things until you start like having deep conversations with people and realizing like, wow, like what I'm doing could be the reason that somebody becomes the VP of the next company, or builds out that next product for whatever great company, or gets to keep their home or put their kids to college, right? So those things for me have stuck, and like now that's how I approach everything in life, right? And when I have conversations with candidates, it's more about how can I help you versus what can you do for me. And that's how it's been for years now. It's literally, even when I tell people, like, even if you don't get this job, obviously I'm trying to fill it. I want to fill it. I want you to be the person to fill it. But if you're not the right person, I still want to help you find a job. It doesn't matter if it's my job, if it's another recruiter's job that I know, or some other hiring manager from other parts of the country. I just want to make sure that you get employed and that the next person fills that job. So,
Wow.
I spent a little time recruiting when I was in the Army.
Did you?
And
Okay.
Yeah. I was so against it, first of all. One, if you can't tell, I'm very introverted. I usually stick to myself. But the Army said, you are going to do this.
No choice.
Yeah, they said you're going to do this. I went to Virginia Beach, and I got a lot of no's. Especially because it wasn't for tech jobs. It was for the Army. And some people see that, and then you have just this this internal thought about how negative the military can be. And yeah, there were some good times. I actually that's ended up being how I met somebody and got a job for myself. But I've seen the good times of being able to, yes, get somebody into a position where it changes their life completely. But there are bad days.
Oh, yeah.
I've had to sit there and make phone calls for hours and, you know, get hung up on and just, I'm like, man, what am I doing wrong? So how do you balance those days where it just seems like you are not getting through to people that you know you could potentially change their lives?
That's a good question. You know, I there was a point in my career where I said, you know what? I can't control what I can't control. At the end of the day, I'm working with people. You're going to get no's. You're going to be let down. And it for sure, it happens a lot with like recruiting and HR. Because, I mean, there's instances where, you know, I would get people an interview, right? And they come up with some excuse like, oh, you know, I got a flat tire on the way to interview, or my dog ate my homework, whatever. You know, but it's like you can't control those things. So you just kind of have to like take it on the chin and, you know, line up and do it again, you know, and hope for a better outcome the next time, or prepare yourself so that you have better outcomes, right? Hey, did you check your tire pressure? You know, like you call your candidate, like, get there 30 minutes early. Do you need me to send a Uber to come get you? Like back in the day, we did whatever we could to make sure that candidate made it to that interview. Let me tell you.
Army recruiter too.
Or for me, it was like
Man.
to make sure that person made it to the MEPS.
Yes.
You are going to ship out. We're going to figure it out.
No, we had some, I mean, some of my former colleagues from my early days in recruiting, I mean, we did some wild things to make sure candidates got to, whether it was paying for their Ubers, or, you know, we'll get the manager to come meet you at the Starbucks down the street. Like, we'll make it happen.
You need me to peanut cup for you?
I don't know that we did all that. I would not confirm or deny that. But you know, it was interesting, and the same thing goes even when you get people that offer, right? It's like, we got an offer for you. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Get a call the next day. I decided to go with this other company. Bro, you couldn't have told me that 2 weeks ago. You knew you had this interview. You knew you had multiple offers on the table. Like, you wouldn't hurt my feelings if you told me that you were going to go some other direction. Now, and that's a lesson learned, right? This was early days. This is a lesson learned now. When I want to talk to a candidate, what you got on the table? You're going to get this interview, but if you're going to get a job in 2 weeks, there's no point. I'll just tell the hiring manager, hey, you got another job coming, and no harm, no foul. But I'd rather that than you take me through the process, you string us along, and we get you to the end, and you're like, I actually decided to go a different direction. I'm like, come on. So you know, you pick those things up, and I mean, again, like that comes through experience, right? You take enough of those on the chin, and you're like, I'm not gonna fall for this again, right? So, yeah.
Have you worked in both public and private?
Yeah.
So, from your perspective, what are kind of some of the differences when it comes to what, you know, hiring managers are looking for in candidates?
Very different. I mean, the world is different for like a few different sectors, right? So like corporate is different than startups. Startups is different than public sector. And, you know, there's a personality, that you kind of have to take into account with each of those, right? You know, with startups, it's very fluid. It's very like, I mean, especially right now, most of these startups, like these people are like in their late 20s, early 30s. They're young entrepreneurs, right? So a lot of them are millennials, Gen Zs. They're like, I mean, there's just one company that I know of. I mean, the guy literally, I think he just did like a Love Island type marketing thing for, you know, to hire people. But he just closed on a $4 million seed, right? I won't name the company, but you know, they got to help me out too, you know. Do some
Is it Cluely?
No. I'll say it's serious. It's a new company that popped up. I've been doing like some social networking AI platform or something like that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But like that's genius though. Like, I mean, it's non-traditional, right? It's not probably something I would have done because that's just not my vibe. But that's what these kids are into nowadays with the whole TikTok thing, right? And like the startups and everything, like that's the world that they're living in. So you kind of have to like talk that language a little bit. Same thing goes for corporate America, right? It's very different. Depending on the culture, depending on the company, they can vary. The way they recruit. I mean, some have a very similar idea and theme like that. Others are very traditional. You know, they're like your old school, like your IBMs, your Dells, like those kinds of places. Like, you know, they have a culture and it works for them. Just like Google too, right? Google, they got the Googlers, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's just like a thing. You become one of these people and you become an alumni of that world, right? So, and in the public sector, it's it's very different, very different. But I think where I really enjoyed it is that, you know, the work in the public sector is selfless. You know, if we're talking like politics aside, right? I mean, because obviously, like I worked at the White House and it's very partisan, right? You're working for the administration, but the work itself, like especially at the digital service, we and other agencies, because we work with a lot of different agencies. We work with IRS and CDC and the VA, and at the end of the day, they're trying to make people's lives better. They're trying to make sure that veterans get benefits. They're trying to make sure that babies get, you know, Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP, you know, all those types of things. Kids go to school, right? Financial aid, all these different things, and like that's mission-driven work, right? So like going back to your question, like every kind of sector has its own vibe, and you just got to figure out like what that is, right? So
is that your startup outfit you're wearing?
Sort of.
That's the startup. That's the startup gear right there.
It's the startup gear. No, this is the 813 day logo that we did an event back in August for 813 day Tampa Day Tech Day.
I remember. Yeah. Tell us about that. Are you doing it again?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a pilot. You know, we wanted to. Yeah, I mean, I think the idea came from. I've done a lot of traveling over the last couple of years, like working for the government and recruiting, and I mean, there's some really dope cities out there. Really, really dope cities out there. Like, I always got to give props to Atlanta because they always do a fantastic job. You know, shout out to the folks at Render and, you know, and Atlanta Tech Week. They were kind of the inspiration of 813 Tech Day and hopefully Tampa Bay Tech Week next year. Just throwing out some teasers out there. You know, hopefully we can make those things happen. We will conceptualize them and make them a reality. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, we'll do our best. But yeah, I mean, like that's kind of where this idea came from. Is just like doing some travels. I'm like, why doesn't Tampa have this? Mm-hmm. I'm like, we have such a good city. Like who wouldn't want to come to Tampa, right? I mean, you got the rivers, you can hop on a boat, go to a brewery, go get a cigar. Like, there's just so much fun things to do in Tampa. And I was like, we need to do something about that. We need to mix the culture of Tampa with the culture of tech and bring that to the city. So anyway, that's a little short tidbit on the logo and why we wanted to do something like that. But
you got some more shirts? I want one.
I can definitely order more.
I mean, just tell me how much it is. If it's under $40, I'll buy it.
It'll be on us. It'll be on me.
Oh, that's what's up. Appreciate you. So, I wanted to ask him about his company. Is that cool? I want to ask you about your newer company. Are we allowed to ask you about that, the AI situation, or no?
Oh yeah. I mean, you talking about the AI for HR?
Yeah.
Shout out to the folks from AI for HR. I'm probably tuning in, honestly. Yeah, I mean, it's not really my company. Another one of those things where it's like just completely happens by chance. It was this young lady, her name is Vanessa, out of, I think she lives in Texas or something. She did a call out to some HR people like, hey, I have this idea. We'd love to have some HR people to bounce it off of. And we're like, yeah, this needs to happen. And so now it's like 15 of us or so across the country. We just decided to start a community called AI for HR. And really the idea behind it is exactly what it sounds like, right? Is AI has come out. HR is one of those roles, and HR includes recruiting. It includes recruiting. It includes, payroll and benefits, learning and development, the business strategy of like being in HR. And so that's a function that I think is very ripe for automation, right? Very easy to automate administrative tasks and, have some AI do it for you versus, hiring an HR person to do it nowadays. And it's only going to get better, right? Like those technologies are going to get better, and we could be out of jobs if we don't latch onto this and really build something. And so the idea really came from wanting to leverage AI, not just to like, how do we use it in our every single day, but how do we build our own tools, right? That was really the main focus is, okay, like, can we get HR people to build tools in Lovable or Cursor or Replit or, all the different, vibe code, no code, low code tools that are out there. It's easy to get a prototype up and running as an HR person, right? Like if you can develop those skills and then take it back to the business and say, hey, we ain't got to go buy this like $1 million like suite of HR tools. We could just build it ourselves. And that was kind of the idea behind it, right? Is if we can get HR teams, especially small teams, right? Like myself, like Vida Talent, I'm one person. It's just me, right? I don't have a team that's helping me, do payroll and benefits and all this other stuff. Like I'm not working with clients and in a way that makes it, that allows me to be with all the clients all at the same time. A lot of it, is being driven by AI, right? Being able to capture notes with AI and like synthesize my note taking and put the email together and like makes me feel like I'm working 1,000 times more efficiently than I would if I was just taking handwritten notes from a candidate's call and putting them in the system and then like, all this other stuff. But anyway, that's kind of like the concept behind AI for HR is really just a community. So it's not really a company. It's more of like a, let's get people together and let's talk about these things. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, what excites you most about the whole experience for AI for HR?
I think it really is just like AI in general. I think like AI, and I've been saying this for the last year. I think it's like the internet in the 90s or early 80s, right? When it first came out, people were resistant to it, I think, at the time too. Like some people knew like, okay, this is going to be the next wave and we got to build companies out of it. And others were like, oh, I'm so used to doing the way I was doing things before, writing stuff down and whatever. Looking at file cabinets to like search stuff, sending mail, physically through USPS. But it's the same thing. Like AI, that's our internet boom right now at this very moment in time. And if we don't catch on to that wave, and I'm talking like everyday life, right? It's what I've been calling like a way to democratize technology, right? So it's lowering the barriers for entry. It's it isn't the same people that are investing in the same companies, making the same money, and not giving back to the underserved communities and demographics. Like with AI, you can really take that to the next level. I can go home today and $20 a month from Lovable and start building my own thing from scratch. And who knows, that could be the next, multi-million-dollar idea. But I think that's like the concept behind like the whole boom right now is that like anybody can just like grab, hop on ChatGPT or Lovable and pay a couple dollars a month and not have to hire your own development team to like come up with something. So
I've been using Lovable quite a bit. It's how I found out how much it costs to use the ChatGPT API.
Yeah. I mean, if you're technical and you can get that far, like it'll start driving up there. But at that point, if you got an MVP though, and that's when you can start, once you got something, that's when you can start pitching it. I think that's where a lot of people couldn't even get to that step, right?
Facts.
They'd have to call up, offshore team from, India to like help build the first iteration of whatever they want. Then they take that to investors and say, hey, I got this wonderful idea, this MVP. Do you want to invest in it? Now you ain't got to spend 15, 20 grand. You probably lose all that money because like now your MVP is crap. No investor wants to, invest in it. But you could spend $100 or $200 with like those tools and come up with something and then show it to an investor and like, wow, that looks really good. I'll give you 10,000, 100,000, a million. And that just starts, going. So yeah.
Truth. I know someone who's actually been really successful, like leveraging and integrating AI into their business. So if anyone has questions about it, it's Anthony. If you see if you see any of his videos that are talking about how great his company is, it's not really him.
I'm letting out all the secrets.
it's his AI avatar. You turned my mic off. You rude. I'm trying to give you props over there. I'm just like, you've been inspiring the masses. Mm-hmm. I just saw a guy he has an Instagram page where he talks about AI, and he even got a repost from Joe Rogan, and all of his content is him using his AI avatar.
Yeah.
He's never actually been on the camera at all.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's in everything. That's what I tell people. I mean, I have a friend who's like in digital marketing. I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm used to like Adobe and Photoshop and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, you could be working 1,000 times better or more efficiently if you just adopt half of these things. Mm-hmm. Your clients aren't going to know whether or not you used it. They're just going to know that's your work, right?
True.
And even then, like, I mean, he's a 20-year designer, right? I mean, he used to make logos for Walmart and all this other stuff. Like, so he knows how to actually design. But it's like, take that, right? The time he probably could have spent like a month building out a whole brand, all the content and all the marketing. That could take him a month. Now it'll take him a week, right? And so now you can pick up more clients because you can do half of it with AI and then put the finishing touches on it with your own creative design skills, right? And like that's game changing. And that's what I'm talking about too, right? It's like it reduces that barrier. It saves time, saves energy. So as you can tell, I'm a little bit of an optimist with AI.
I see it.
I mean, there's obviously like there's the ethical implications and the fears of like the next Terminator, right? Like Skynet and like all these other things. Like, yes, you got to keep this in the back of your mind. But for now, let's like live in the glory days.
We're gonna run out of oxygen before Skynet
you
actually.
think so?
Oh, absolutely.
While she's looking for her question, I have something for you. I really want to step back a bit. We've been talking about recruiting and HR from the perspective of basically the company.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it from the perspective of the person who's listening right now, thinking about their next step, their next interaction with the recruiter. And from your perspective, paint the picture for me of how you would prepare for that next conversation with your recruiter and getting ready for that next interview.
So as a candidate, you mean, right? Like if I'm a candidate looking for a recruiter.
I want you to paint that for me.
Yeah, yeah. Like? So, I mean, I think you really, like finding a recruiter is like finding a real estate agent. I've used that analogy before, and it's very true, right? Because you're not just going to pick any real estate developer or any real estate agent to like find you your next home. You're going to find somebody who you trust, who you like, who knows your flavor, knows your style, is going to find you that next beautiful home. And that's what a job is. A job is like your next home, right? You want to go to a place that, you vibe with the people, you love the culture, you love the work that you do. And that's what everybody wants, right? You don't want to just go to a company and then constantly be bombarded by your coworkers and like you don't like them and you don't even like to be at the place and you get pinged on Microsoft Teams or Slack or something. You're like, I got this manager again. Like nobody wants that, right? Everybody, ideally as a candidate, wants to find their next home. And I use that analogy because like that's how you got to treat a recruiter. Find people that, find one that you like, that you trust, that is actually knowledgeable in whatever skill set that they recruit for, whether it's sales or finance or tech or whatever. There's recruiters for every skill set out there nowadays. And tap into them, especially nowadays. I mean, the really good ones are out there throwing out content or going to conferences or, they have a large network of people that they talk to all the time. And you'll just like right away know once you start talking to them that that's your person, and let them work for you. Right. Let me work for you. That's basically what it is. Right. Is let the recruiter, if they're good at their job, they'll find you the job. And if they won't, they'll at least connect you to somebody that will find you a job. Right. And I think that's the key is don't expect that person to like have all the jobs. It's just not going to happen. But if you do find yourself a good recruiter that has a good network, they're selfless, and they just say, hey, I just want to help you, then you find yourself a gold mine, right? So I think like if I'm a candidate, I think like that those are some traits that I want to look for in somebody who's going to work for me to help me find that next job. So
Facts. So I actually wanted to get to this question before we run out of time. All right. All right. So with so many roles on your plate, consultant, founder, board member, and government advisor, that's a lot. Dang. How do you stay grounded in your personal life?
Oh man. When I'm done with the day, I just take a step back. I from like the hours of like 7 to 7, I'm trying to grind and do what I need to do. And I'll take breaks in between. Like right now I got my son at home. We'll take a stroll for 20 minutes and just ride around, around the neighborhood. I'm a big video gamer and I love the gym. Right. So, and I love music even though I kind of failed at the R&B stuff, but I find my outlets. And for me, it's like between family, gym life, video gaming, and like music and stuff like that. So, I just try to find ways to like ground myself in those places, like especially the gym. The gym has always been, like I said, I was a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. So like it is ingrained in my lifestyle. I will fit it wherever I can, whether it's 5 a.m. or 12 midnight. I also do triathlons. So,
okay.
Most people don't know that about me.
Why?
Look, I don't know. I think it's like this, it's a phase that I think millennials are going through, right? There's like this like immense amount of trauma that I think we went through. We're like, now I'm going to like dump it all into like endurance training. Right. And so
you can be inspirational on social media.
I don't know about all that, but no, I just like, for me, like, especially triathlons for sure has been like running. I just lose myself, right? Like I'll go for 5-10 miles. And I'm just like gone. Like the world doesn't exist, for that moment in time. And I think people need that, like you need that to like separate yourself. I mean, I don't think about nothing when I'm in the gym or when I'm running, nothing. And I think that like whatever that is for you as a person, like whether it's the gym or reading a book or listening to your favorite podcast, like it's just about like removing yourself from the world, because it's crazy right now. There's a lot going on. It's mentally draining, like not just being at work, but just like everything that the world shows you, whether it's like on social media or on TV. Like you need to find those outlets where you just like pull back, right, and like find that balance in your life so that you can do all the things, right?
Yeah.
So you can have all those titles and roles and whatever you're doing in your job while also giving back to your family and also giving back to yourself, so.
That's actually why I got rid of my Apple Watch. No, for real. Yeah. Like I have
just ding you all the time.
Yeah, I have a Garmin now because I remember like even put in do not disturb, but it's there. And so you can do things with it, And so I was like, let me get this Garmin because like whenever my phone is turned off, I can't get nothing.
Yeah.
So I love this watch. I go running, can't get nothing. Which is good and bad because if I trip and fall and die,
nobody's going to find you.
I can't do nothing.
We've already established that after 12 hours of not coming home. The people coming.
Yep. Let's send the cavalry.
Fair enough.
12 hours.
Fair enough. Okay, another question we want to hit as we run out of time. So you've opened doors for countless candidates. Who once opened a door for you, and how did that moment change you?
Oh, man. So I know we talked about this before the show. So I'm going to take it back to when I first started at Tech Systems, and I will never forget this interview, right? So, I mentioned I got hit up on LinkedIn. I went to go interview for this job. I interviewed with a few folks, got called back, and I did my final interview with 2 people. And I'll never forget this because it's like to me it's the craziest story now when I think back about it. Mm-hmm. But at the time it made sense for me because I didn't really know much about the world. I was young, like I said, unpolished, still trying to figure it out in the world. And so the person who would end up being my boss, her name was Carrie. She asked me the question like, "Why do you want this job?" Right? And you're going to laugh, but I said to her, I just want AC. I just want AC. And let me tell you why I said that, right? It's the craziest thing. So both my parents are immigrants, Mexican descent. And my dad worked in the tomato fields for almost 30 years, 40 years. Well, now it's 40 years, right? So at the time it was like 25, 30 years. And I remember when I was young, he used to take me out to the fields to work, right? This was before child labor laws. So just going to put that out there.
Y'all have a lot in common.
But I remember, he used to take me out there every summer, every winter, and it was the hardest work of my entire life. If you've ever been out working agriculture, which I know most people in this entire planet probably haven't, unless you've, it sounds like you have. So you know. But it is a very humbling experience. Not just that, but when you start talking to the people that are there, like I said, my dad was doing it for 25 years. There was people out there at that time who had been doing it for 50 years.
Wow.
Like 50 years. I remember talking to a man, I think he was like 70 something. And I don't know whether he was documented or not. I didn't care. That wasn't, what I was there for. I was young too. I was like 15 or 16. But I asked him, I said, why are you still doing this? He's like, this is all I know. This is all I know. And so you take that away from somebody and it's like, what else do they have left? But anyway, going back to the story, so who would end up being my boss, she started crying on the spot because I told her, I said I wanted AC. And then I told her the story about my dad and working out in the fields and telling me like, you don't want to end up here. Like you don't want to, be working the rest of your life in these farms. Go get an education, go get a good job and do good things. And like that stuck to me. And so she betted on me, right? That was one of those people that opened the door for me. They could have easily said, this guy, I don't know, I'm gonna pass on him. But she gave me a chance. And like I said, that first year when I started at Tech, I struggled. I did. I'm not gonna say that I was the best recruiter in the world. I was not. I was far from it. But I learned over time, and she took that chance on me. And she opened the door for me. And if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be here. So.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that, but that was inspiring. Wow, yeah.
Thank you.
I mean,
did I drop the mic? Oh no.
No, I'm over
No,
here like,
that's
I
what
can
it
relate.
was. That's one of those moments where you just like take a pause because it's just like, you got me over here. Should I be a recruiter?
It's so funny.
Like, wow. But okay, so we are officially low on time. But is there anything, like one more bar that you want to drop that you just feel like I gotta say this while I'm here right now?
Oh man, put me on the spot here. No, I mean I think for folks that are looking for the next job out there, like it like I said, it is a tough market right now. It's not you, it's the market. It really is. I mean, there's a lot of things going on economically, politically. You got AI. There's just a lot of things. This is a very different time in our lives, and just keep going. Just keep grinding. Eventually something pops, and like I'm a big believer in like the universe just has a funny way of telling you things. It's exactly what's happened to me over the last couple months, if I'm being honest. Like I didn't know I was going to end up back in the government or, launching this business or, working with these other startups as an advisor. Like these things all just happened. Like they would just like, something wasn't going right. And then something else opened up and I'm like, oh, maybe that's the universe telling me I need to go do that. Mm-hmm. And just take that leap of faith, right? I mean, if you're a believer in faith, like whatever religion or whatever that looks like dive into that, right? And use that to like drive you, or use other factors. Like for me, it's always like my kids, right? Like it's like no matter what, I'm always gonna grind and hustle and get to that next level because I have mouths I gotta feed, right? But beyond that, it's about like helping people. So I'm like rambling now. So 2 things: keep pushing, let the universe speak, dive into those things, and always be willing to help others, because like I've heard this creed and like I live by it to this day. It's not about what you can do for yourself. It's about what you can do for others. And the world has a way of repaying that to you in its own way. So just like good karma, right? So yeah.
I finally get to use this, and Anthony's gonna buzz me, as Pastor Aaron would say. Come Come on, somebody.
Love it.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you. This is a part where I thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For taking the time to, you're in studio. We really need to start getting stuff to give to people who come in studio. But you're in studio. You took the time to just like share your insight, share your knowledge, share your stories. I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch this. You're gonna teach them a lot. So we genuinely appreciate you sharing your time and your energy with us.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we're looking forward to another time.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, for everybody else who's listening and want to know more, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, if you're on LinkedIn, that's definitely the easiest way. I live and breathe on LinkedIn. I do have IG, Vida Talent Solutions. Those are probably the main two outlets, but yeah.
Okay.
You want to throw any websites out so Anthony can put it on a screen? You have to say the exact say the exact website.
I mean, for sure. Like, obviously, I have my own company, VidaTalentSolutions.com. And then we also are launching the AI for HR community. So if you are in HR, or even if you're not, and you're like, I want to know how to use AI tools, like if you're in operations, admin, whatever, jump in. That's AI4HRcommunity.com. These are the two main ones right now. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in this episode of the Stats on Stats podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, and I want to say stay wavy. However, usually I would talk about my Cash App, but Ryan, this one's for you. Make sure y'all go check out Ryan's book. It's so good. I don't really take time to read books because I don't have time, but go check this out. Support content creators. I don't know. Anyways, all right, stay wavy. Cash App is the same. Jordyn Short. Bye.